Well, good day and welcome to another segment of Fly Fishing Pass It On. Today we're going to be talking about how weather affects fish. And Mother Nature is continuously shuffling the deck on us, and we must adapt to the weather and the fish feeding habits in different weather situations. So I'll try to dumb this down, if you will. We'll kind of, it's a very complicated topic. I mean, there's never 2 days alike. You never step in the water, the same water twice, as they say. Every day is a little different. So we'll look at some pretty obvious things we can maybe deal with. Temperature swings are always a big problem. You get cold fronts that'll put the fish off for a while. The fish get really moody, they're lethargic, they're going to just kind of lay down on you. So you're going to want to make sure you're fishing very slow, or maybe even stagnant. You're hanging something under an indicator or whatever the case may be. Now, sometimes rivers and lakes are even a little different too. I found that what affects lakes is not really conducive to rivers. Like moon phases, for example. I've never really had any problems fishing rivers with moon phases, but lakes, it's very prevalent. The full moon, basically, you're going to have 3 days of tough fishing, very tough. The new moon is, fish are quite active. It's a lunar pull you're dealing with, but the full moon, there's been a lot of studies done on this. Apparently I read up, for years I wasn't sure what it really was, but found a really good intensive study on it. They feel that the fish they know that the fish are feeding in the middle of the night. So in the daytime they're full and they're not interested in eating. So when we get to the saltwater, for example, when I'm fishing down in Florida where we fish in the wintertime, the full moons were, I would be all over a full moon. That's when you're going to get the biggest tides and moving the bait fish around. All the fish are hungry. They know this is optimum time. The bait fish are moving around. It's going to stack them up in areas because you get a really strong tide, which is basically all your current pushing food in different locations, and it's go time for these saltwater fish during full moons. So the lake fishing on full moons is, if you have some chores to do at home, like painting a fence, whatever, might be a good time to do that. The sun is another issue that a lot of us anglers don't even consider too much. We all wear sunglasses and we try not to stare at the sun or whatever. And we must consider that these fish don't have eyelids, so they will not sit and look at the sun. They're going to face away from the sun at all times. So you'll maybe, just make sure if you have the sun at your back, you're at a disadvantage. You're better if you're looking into the sun and they're not, if you want to get some fish in the net. That'd probably be my thoughts on that for sure. Another situation is wind. I'm in southern Alberta here, and you travel all over the country. It doesn't matter where you go, you're going to get wind, and it's especially saltwater destinations or just anywhere you go. It is tough. You want to learn to cast in the wind. Now, I'll do some casting demos to kind of help you out. You can drive your line into the wind a little bit on your delivery. You can push it into the wind. I'll show you how you can cast with wind on either side of your body or behind you. There's ways of steeple casting sometimes and so forth. You can cast in some pretty wicked wind and make that work. But you're going to have to adapt some casting. Now, wind can also be your friend or foe. Now, when you want to use it to your advantage, if you're fishing lakes, for example, if you see around a point, you're going to have the current come along there, and you'll see wind lines. You'll see the water, there's a seam blowing through there, and that's a wind line. It's the same as a seam in a river. You want to fish that seam. That's where most of the food's going to be concentrated in. There's a faster water and slower water meet, and fish stack up in there. So that's where you want to be. So fish that water hard if you can find that situation. There's also the wind lines, see foam lines in the water sometimes. That'll be down probably on the downwind side of a lake. You're going to see most everybody hunkered up along the banks or the shore, the trees or whatever else, so it's more comfortable to fish. We don't have to be fighting the wind. It's a tough day when you're out there, so it's going to be more comfortable being sheltered. But that being said, the more fish are going to be feeding on the downwind side. So if you want to get down there and buck the wind, you're probably going to hit pay dirt as far as some really good fish feeding that day. Another thing is the direction of the wind. That's really critical. Is the old saying, west is best and east is least. So that the east wind is the low pressure, and that'll put them off for sure. They will lie down, and the fish will they'll go off. The north wind is a cold front coming in, like we talked about earlier. The wind, that'll put them off too. So make sure you slow your fishing down really, really slow. You're not going to catch many fish, but you will catch some fish, and they're going to be just kind of nipping at it. They won't be as aggressive. But these fish, like I say, their swim bladders are affected by the fish, or the pressure, big time. That's why the barometric pressure, you'll see a lot of, guys are using barometers. That's all to do with the swim bladder, basically, and the fish and how they feel. If the barometer's wrong, the fish feel sick. So the dropping barometer is not good. So another way to use wind for your advantage is, like I said, the wind lines. You can also drift corks, okay? Now if you have a wind line, you want to drift a cork in through there, that's a good way of doing it. It'll keep the fly in along that wind line all the way. Or another thing, my son Boyd showed me years ago. I couldn't believe it. We were fishing. It was windy. We were having a hell time. There's three of us that were pretty good anglers, and he went up and rigged up a little bobber rig here for lake fishing. We were getting some photos done for a magazine guy, and boy, he started getting into some fish and some beauties. So I went down and really had a good look what he was doing, but he was drifting a cork along the shoreline of the lake. So what happens when fish are fishing in lakes, they have the bank. And if they're fishing, say if they want to be in 4 feet depth, they're going to follow the contour of that lake at 4 feet. They're not going in and out in a deep water back to the shore. They go along the shoreline at that depth. It might be 6 feet or 8 feet, whatever it is. So you peg your cork below, above your fly right there, but you want the wind to carry your fly drifted along naturally along that edge of the shore. And I'll tell you, I have never seen more fish caught. And we've used that technique ever since, and it was probably the most deadly technique we've ever seen. The wind has to be right. You have to be on the right shore to do it. And even if I have to take a boat over, if I see that, I'll go up in the bank and I'll roll cast out. You don't have to be far because it's a real short game, right? They're really, really close to the banks, and they could be, like say 6 or 8 feet of water. But so watch your depths and your depth charts. But you will notice fish cruising the shoreline. So make sure you work with that. The other thing is make sure you're dressed. You got some good rain protection and some good sunscreen. You got all that stuff to, it'll beat you up if you're not used to being out in it all the time. So the weather not only affects the fish, it affects you too. And keep hydrated. That's always an issue I have, but keep yourself safe. When you're fishing off boats in the wind, a lot of times, guys will drop one anchor, and if they're on a little boat by themselves, they'll drop the anchor off the bow and then the fish off the back. I've seen that in many areas. That's basically their game. But when boats have one anchor, they will sway. So you're either dragging or your line doesn't have any tension on it. You won't feel the bite. You want to be on contact with your fly at all times. Keep your rod tip in the water and directly to your fly. So when you anchor, especially with two, like me and my wife, we make sure we don't drop our anchor straight down. We cross anchor so they're coming out quite an angle and down, and drop enough rope if it's a strong wind so you get lots of holding power. The longer your rope, the more your anchors will hold. If they go straight down, you're going to get bounced off, and it's going to be not a fun day at all. It'll be just a nightmare for you. So hope some of those tips help you out and get you into more fish. I know weather, it comes, we take it as it comes, but you can use some of those little tips, maybe help you out. So thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you again here real soon.
Thanks for watching Brent's fly fishing instructional series. He can be found on Brent's YouTube channel and Sport Fishing on the Fly.